you're a dick. Hey, how's it going? My name is James P. White. This is the Bold and Short of It podcast. That's Chris Mooney. And in case you missed it at the beginning, I called him a dick. That's actually a term of endearment. It's a way of showing the man that I love him because he is such a dick and in so many different ways. And that is none other than Chris Mooney. And I think Chris is short form for dick, or dick in some language. But how's
Well,
it going, big guy?
you'd be the expert in everything short in all its forms. So
You got it. I'm all about the short and the quick.
it's episode 21, buddy. Um, and
We're in
yeah,
November. We're in
yeah,
November, dude.
yeah. Hey, you know what? It's a
It's
really nice day today. It's a little windy, but I mean, I could do with another month and a half, 2 months of this before it gets shitty. I mean, I think
you
we're
know
at
what?
that point. I think after Remembrance Day, I think every every day that it's plus anything or like not freezing and not super cold and not snowy is like a gift because winter only
Yeah,
lasts so long.
there was a little bit of snow, but not enough to be
Yeah,
anything. But
yeah. Like
we
I'm
started this podcast just before Canada Day, dude. I think our first podcast the next day was Canada Day.
wow. Well, we're not in the thousands, but we're up to 21 anyway, and we haven't
We're
killed each other.
we're up to 20. Yeah, 21, man. The big 2-1. We got a lot of stuff to talk about on the podcast. My week has been very, very boring. Haven't done much, but we'll get into that. And Mooney's probably done lots of things, had parties at his house and invited over the neighbors and family and friends and even people he doesn't know. But I think my phone has been broken all week. But we'll start out with Mooney. Hit us with your week,
I
baby.
remember when we were doing our prep there a little bit, and I was saying I don't want to like I wanted to talk about something on the cast, and that's it. I don't know, like if anyone really gives a shit about my week. Like, I'll tell you what I did, just so you know I wasn't stepping out on you.
Stepping out on
but
me.
honestly, like on the one hand, it's like it's good. It's I guess it's good content if we joke around with each other about our weeks, but I'm not sure. I think the average viewer um, probably doesn't really give a shit about what I did with my week. Um, so I don't know. We'll figure
if
that out.
if you did something, dude, it's for us to get together too. Remember, we
Yeah,
started this podcast. We started this podcast by getting drunk on your boat and going, you know what? We have some interesting conversations, and sometimes the interesting stuff comes out from our week. Like
yeah,
when we went
yeah, and
to when we went to Nazareth, or when we went to K Days, or we did Taste, or
yeah. That's a good point. And yeah, in fairness, I guess we only talk about the highlights, so that's good. And usually where we go, we talk about where we went and all that. So I guess that's common information, but I just want to make sure that I'm not being indulgent and presuming that people give a shit about me or my life. You know, like
but
I,
we
I
both talk about it. And
yeah, fair
like,
enough.
I don't give a
Anyway,
shit about your life because you're not because you don't invite me to anything anymore. So, you
yeah,
know,
whatever, man. Like, okay, well, if you must know, uh, my week was fairly uneventful in terms of socializing. Um, we had a fraternity event on Friday that I can't give too many details about, but it was one of the features was that um, the pledges got their big brothers, which is always a highlight because these are the guys that guide them through the process and help them along the way. Usually neophytes, like new active members. So that's always nice to see them bond. And that was the primarily what the Friday was about. I that was my plan the whole time. That's why we didn't hook up because usually we do on Friday or Saturday. And frankly, Friday went so well that I decided to stay in on Saturday. Friend of the podcast, Johnny, asked me if I wanted to go out and watch the game, and I'm like, I think I'm good. It was I think that was my liver talking, but we did, however, and you probably won't want to hear this, Jimmy, but I did meet Johnny at Julian's over at Chateau Louis for about an hour before I went to the Decos. But I knew it was going to be brief, and he just reached out and said, 457, and I'm like, no, I think 432 is good. So
I uh,
so
I
Lisa
need to I
says
need to
hello.
go back. I need to go back to Julian's because I was there a couple weeks ago with my friends from Tabor. We went, but we didn't go to Julian's. We went to the bar down below,
Yeah,
and uh, because because I like the lower tables, like that, like the it's not really it's you know what I mean.
you get a lot
Seating
of
for a
credit.
midget is it
You get a
is
lot of credit for stepping up literally and sitting up to the bar with us, and I tip of the cap to you for that. I know
I
what you
left a
prefer.
bag there that I need to go back for.
Oh, you did? Yeah, they never
Yeah.
mentioned it. Um,
They probably don't because I didn't leave it in Julian's. Because was in the bar
oh, do they
downstairs.
still call that joint a touch of class?
I think so. At least that's what it says on my receipts.
What a great name for a bar in the basement with like 1,000 VLTs and no windows. A touch of class. Because if it was
They
more than a touch, you'd be in the wrong place.
they used to go there because on Wednesday nights they do the digital trivia, and
Mhm.
I have some friends that I get together with, and we do the trivia down there.
I keep saying
And
I'd love to go for that. That would be fun because that's like the old
yeah,
NTN, those old NTN consoles you'd get at the
yeah,
bar. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly.
Anyways,
But
yeah, we were at Julian's briefly, and Lisa asked after you. She goes, "Where's Jimmy?" And she's because when we were there that time before, we were talking about you bunking in with me when Andrew was away, and she's like, "Did it? What? It didn't work out." Like, yeah, like we tried living together, and now we just broke up.
yeah, we broke up. Uh,
But yeah, no, I was there briefly. I had a glass slash bottle of wine, and then went over to the fraternity house for the festivities.
well, that's cool.
And
So I have a question. I have a question about like so the Big Brothers are they like active members or are they older members like
no, it's
such as
active. It's
yourself, like
active.
veterans?
It's a really it's I mean, there's some things that I say because of my role or whatever as an alumnus, but um, frankly, selfishly, it's kind of like you live vicariously through these guys. Like, insofar as it's a big deal as a pledge, you feel like you're a little bit closer, not just to your goal, but to the chapter because you've been given somebody upon whom you're going to rely to help you through the process, which means the process is moving along, which also means you're part of that guy's family because that guy had a big brother and the guy before him had a big brother, and you're kind of part of a little like crew within the outfit, and so there's a lot of excitement there, and the way they determine it is it's the youngest guys are the first candidates to get little brothers because A, they haven't had little brothers, and B, they're closest to the pledges because they're all like about the same age, and um, and also closest to the experience. So you're not drawing too far back in your memory banks on what happened last year or whatever. So and the way they do it is the pledges give a list of their top three choices of young active members who they'd like to be their big brother, and then the powers that be will determine from that list and try and get everybody's choice down. So I remember
So,
back in the day when I was an active, like there's a few guys ago, like even though they got their big brother, they'd come up to me at the bar after and go, "You're top of my list," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man." I don't know what to say to that, but it always works out. Like there's a bunch of guys like Zuki. Zuki. That's
yeah.
that's friend of the podcast, Mike Bayrack's little brother, and like those guys are still thick as thieves, right? And
So
like
Let me ask you a question about your days, like both as a big brother and are you still friends with your little brothers from back in the day?
Yeah, I have three, and yeah, for the most part, one of the guys has kind of moved away, but the other guys I'm still in touch with. Neither both of them live in Calgary now, but I still stay in touch with them, and whenever we see each other, it's like no time has passed.
And just for the listeners who don't listen to us all the time, we are talking about his former uh, fraternity that I've done some stuff for, and it's the Delta Kappa Epsilon fraternity. So he was part of it, and so yeah, when we talk about the decals, that's what we're talking about. And that's
Oh
really
yeah.
cool. I was never part of a fraternity, so hearing about stuff like this from you guys or the boys because I love the guys down there. They're all
I
great,
know. It's
and
like it's you're one of those guys too. Like I have friends that aren't members, but then when they hang out with us, or like like you obviously hang out with us. Like you knew probably 20 deeks before you went to the house and met the active chapter when we did that dunk tank, and then
yeah,
we went while you were there for the maze last week, and then we did the you came by and shot some stick with the fellas, and it's like you're one of those guys where it's like fuck man, I wish I knew him, however
yeah.
many years ago,
I'm
because yeah.
I'm an honorary alum,
Yeah, you'd have been the guy, man. Like you probably would have been in my pledge class too. Oh well.
but knowing me and my personality, I would have probably been um the mascot. Like just knowing how hey Jimmy, we want you to do something kind of dumb. Okay. Um,
No,
I could
er,
I could see that. Like I could be dressed up as something as the mascot of the decals. And
well, you know what? Like, there's it seems like almost every year there's a guy that kind of emerges from the group that's just, you know, like a funny guy, like the fun guy or whatever. And, within a month or two, there's a story about something he did, you know, good or bad. And, yeah, it's like every outfit, that even teams that you've been on, there's kind of that goofy guy or whatever that becomes the de facto mascot or whatever. Got thick skin.
every radio station I worked at, I ended up being that. Oh, did you hear what Jimmy did at the Christmas party? Yeah.
Yeah.
All the girls were doing jello shots off his abs, which he doesn't have any. Um,
Then he shit his pants.
no, not at the Christmas party. Oh wait, no, no, that wasn't the Christmas party. That was the Halloween howler. Um,
I was joking. We'll stop there.
okay, yeah, but true story. Um,
Mm,
so
you know what? Since I don't know. I know I put in our notes, but that was pretty much my week, except for last night, Sunday night. Um, oh, I roasted like a um strip loin roast. So like it's probably, yeah, prime rib, ribeye, prime rib, ribeye. It's about the same.
like in your smoker.
No, no, I didn't do. I just baked it like you would, And
Okay.
holy cow, was it ever good? I'm like, it was $40 for like a big one. Like you have strip loin steaks. The roast was the worth about six or seven of those, and it was $40, Frisson Brothers, and it's
Hmm.
got a fat cap, and the way they cut it, you can sit the fat cap on top. Oh my god! I mean, I'm not even gonna buy prime rib anymore. The way that thing turned out.
I
Um,
like to do roasts like that in my
Air
Instapot.
fryer. Oh no, like
No
my air
Instapot.
fryer. Yeah, I've heard of that, but it's convenient. But the one thing I don't, I've heard people talk about Instapot, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to get one. Because like, don't you want time for like I said, I had that fat cap. It's about a quarter inch thick over the top. That like you want that time for all of the juices and everything to kind of coalesce and get in
One
there. And
one thing you do with the Instapot, you brown it first. So you put
oh
it
yeah,
on
I do that
saute
too.
mode, and then you brown it, and then you put it in there. And then sometimes what I do after is I clear everything out and
Pour it
then
over
put
the
the
top.
roast back in and re-sear it after it's cooked, just to give it a little bit of a sear on the outside. But when you do a roast in the Instapot, it's like melts in your mouth, like it falls apart. Like if you do it for too long, it's like pulled beef. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
it, like it
How
just
long does it take? Okay,
shreds.
so I'll just tell you about mine. Here's the thing. So this is about a 3.1 pound uh strip loin roast, right? Or and so it's, I don't know, it's like about, I don't know, like about the as wide as my hand is, right? And
That's
I
a
put
wide
it
hand.
I put it in at 450, um at 450 for 15 minutes, and then and basically I did that for 15 minutes, 3 pounds, just to it's kind of like the oven version of a sear, and then 325 for 50 minutes. That's it. And I mean, it was like almost rare. I like it like that, medium rare, rarish, and so easy to cut. I mean, forget about it.
That's the thing with doing it in the Instapot. Very rarely can you go rare. Like it's
Yeah,
just it like it's well done.
yeah,
But
and I don't
it's
go
it's
for
not
that.
it's not it's not it's not a hard well done. It's like where it's tough, but it's like
Well, this is
fall
that
fall
was,
apart.
yeah. I didn't mention how I did it to talk about me as much as I wanted to see. So if you had a 3 pound roast like that and you used your Instapot, which admittedly I completely don't understand those things yet exactly, but how long would that thing take
I
to
made
cook?
wine in mine. It
Fucking
about four and
prison
a half.
wine. I got tired of the toilet. So
About 4.5 hours.
4.5 hours for a 3 pound.
Or I don't know what 3 pound is. They're big enough to fit in my Instapot, so about this big,
Yeah.
but about as big as my head.
So what's Insta about that? Because my shit was done in like an hour.
But the thing is that you can do it. You set it and forget it. So it's pressure cooked. So you just put it there. Like I don't use it as much anymore that I'm home more. But when I was working at the radio station, if I wanted the if I wanted roast for lunch or pulled pork, pulled chicken, whatever, throw it in, turn it on while I'm at work and then I get home at 5 o'clock or like, at noon or 1 or whatever it is, and it's ready. I just take it, just, release the
Yeah.
pressure
Huh.
and away
Well,
you
but
go.
like
So that's the
you
thing with
got,
the Instapot is it's for people to cook when they're not home. The same as like, you had the crock pot, but this, you can do an entire
keep
roast.
talking. Keep talking.
You can, you can do an entire roast in hours, and I do it as a pot roast style where you have your potatoes and corn, your carrots and onions and garlic and all that jazz in it.
Yeah. I just
But yeah,
I doesn't sound too Insta to me. Look at this
it's called
beauty.
it's Instapot.
Look at that.
Instapot is the brand.
Look at that beauty.
Oh, that is nice. Instapot is the brand, but it's a pressure cooker. It, it's
So wouldn't
it's
it take
it's
like like this is what I'm trying to reconcile, okay? It's like it's a pressure cooker. Presumably it takes faster, right? Or it goes faster. And it takes me an hour to cook a 3 pound roast to make it look that beautiful in the oven. Conventional oven, no tricks. And the Instapot takes 4 hours. Now, if I did my thing for 4 hours, it would be garbage because I mean, whatever. Even if I did it, yeah. But it's an Instapot, meaning like, couldn't you come home,
okay.
do it, and it'd be ready in like 20 minutes or an hour or
I
whatever?
haven't done one in a really long time. I can't remember how long I did. I'm actually looking it up. What what it says.
I didn't even mean to
Bottom
talk
round,
about this.
bottom round roast.
Mine's a strip loin, but whatever.
Whatever. I just
Put rare, or like, because you were saying that you can't do it rare in the thing.
okay. I was totally wrong. 1 hour,
Yeah.
and
How many
that's well
pounds?
done.
How
Three
many
pounds,
pounds?
3 pound bottom round.
Yeah, like most roasts that you get off the shelf are going to be
Yeah.
like.
So I was. Okay, granted, when I did the wine, it took 16 hours, but because it has to ferment it, and the idea.
I was talking to a dude once, like not long
Oh, it
ago,
was gross
actually.
wine, dude. Dude, I'm glad I didn't kill anybody who drank it. Like
Because
it was not good.
I think it was T. You met T over at Sherbrooke. He tends
Yeah,
bar there. I think he was the one that told me he made wine in his crock pot, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I'll
I
try
did it in
anything
the
once.
Instapot, not. Yeah, dude. I I think I the problem was it wasn't bad, but I think I skipped it. I think you're supposed to strain it, which I didn't.
Well,
So
yeah,
all this sediment,
sediment. Yeah, that
because
sounds
you
very
add
that sounds very prisony. Like,
because it's basically grape juice, sugar, and
yeah.
yeast.
So it's like, I remember a few episodes ago you said how you wouldn't last very long in prison. It's like,
Uh,
before you commit
I
any
didn't say
crimes.
I wouldn't last very long. I'd be passed around like a pack of smokes.
Yeah,
Like like
that was it. That was funnier.
I I I'd
And I'm
become
like,
currency.
you oughta practice up on your fucking winemaking, like, or vodka or something, like
Yeah, but it's
moonshine.
just they
And then
won't give you a
you could
pressure
you could
cooker.
you could trade that. You can trade that, to protect your anal virginity.
Or just stay out of prison. I'm trying to go that way.
Well,
So that
for
was
you.
your week.
Yeah, except for, like I was gonna say, we could talk about it later, and we don't usually talk about stuff like this, but um, there was it took like one night for us to watch it, but there's um, I guess you call it a mini series on Netflix, a short one. It's called Death by Lightning, and it was exclusively about James Garfield, um, who was president of the United States in like 1881. So we're talking about like 30 years after Lincoln. But he knew Lincoln. Um, and or no, 20 years. I'm sorry, 20 years after Lincoln. And his presidency was like 6 months because he got assassinated. But it's almost like, because his presidency was so short, the accomplishments of his life leading up to that point, not to mention the fact that he didn't even want it. He was nominated at the national convention because they hated the corruption in New York. And there were a lot of parallels between back then and now. Um, Not to mention the fact that he was born in a log cabin, like in poverty, and he was the last American president to have done so. Lincoln sort of did too, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, um, but you talk about his dad died when he was 18 months old. Uh, it's just a perennial overachiever, but also a guy that, like, the best leaders are reluctant. They're not ambitious, but they're principled. And it's like, I know that I don't want to do this, but I feel like I must because I want to protect that about which we all care. And that was the message I got about James Garfield. And to be honest, unlike most people, I thought he was just a historical footnote, but worthy of discussion. And the series, it'll be worth anybody's time if you're interested. It's called Death by Lightning on Netflix, and I recommend people watch it. They spent time also discussing the guy's assassin, and the assassin actually becomes sort of a subplot of the whole piece. And there are a lot of parallels there too, where the guy's disillusioned and wants recognition, thinks that he's worthy of recognition. Like, there's so many parallels of things that we've seen gone on really since then. So worth a look. I really enjoyed it,
And,
and it made me curious about Garfield.
well, I might have to look into that. Um, Now I'll get into my week. It's again, I didn't do a lot, but there was a lot of, I guess you could say, thinking going on this week for me. Not as much a lot of stuff going on, but you were just talking about something that you watched over the past week that you wanted to talk about, and was I was drinking, and as I do a couple days ago, and I was watching Clone Wars, this Star Wars animated series, and I wrote, and I so you're watching, about a president of the United States, and I'm watching Clone Wars, but I was I wrote this in my drunk journal. It says, watching Clone Wars while drinking, while attacking the separatist shift, the
Oh, are you
malevolence,
still
the
talking about your week? Sorry,
just I'm talking about
I'm
something that
just
I
kidding.
watched during my week.
Go
So,
back. I was just kidding.
so the malevolence. So Anakin actually said the exact same thing on the malevolence as Luke did in the New Hope when attacking the Star Destroyer, the Death
Death
Star.
Star.
Yes, and it was, watch out for those tower boys. But just the way he said it was the exact same inflection and everything. And while drinking, that meant something to me. And then I looked at it sober, and I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Everything has frickin' towers. So I wrote this
Yeah,
while
but hang
drunk.
on.
So
No, there's no way. First of all, before I comment on that, what number of times have you watched the Clone Wars?
the entire series, 4, 5.
Okay. Anyways,
I had,
so
yeah,
what were the exact
and it's only
words?
7 seasons.
What were the exact? Oh, only. What were the exact words that Anakin said in Clone
Watch out
Wars?
for those towers, boys.
And that's word for word what Luke said.
When attacking, when
Attacking the Death
in
Star.
the in the attack of the Death Star, when they're going down
Yeah,
the
yeah.
trench.
He said, "Watch out for those towers, boys."
Hmm.
There's no
That's what
fucking way. There is no way. There's no way on God's green earth that whatever Star Wars nerd wrote the dialogue for the Clone Wars, which obviously came out after A New Hope, Episode 4. For those of you that don't know,
it
um,
came out. It came
um,
out after the Clone Wars came out after Attack of the Clones
yeah,
and
but the
before.
point is, it's like it's like people, it's like the Bible. When people refer to the uh, prophets, talking about Christ, even though prophets were written earlier. Point being is that the guy that wrote Clone Wars, guaranteed, he's a Star Wars nerd, and he wanted to find a way to put that in there. So, I mean,
Possibly, but
that dude is over the moon that you caught it, because there's probably, I bet he goes to those comic conventions and shit, or like maybe they have Star Wars conventions, and guys go up to him and go, "Hey, remember in Episode 6 when the guy flew over and Anakin said, 'Watch out for the towers, boys'?"
it was episode 4. It was episode
Whatever.
4, not 6. Yes. Okay. Um,
Hey, by the way, can I see your shirt? I only see that this is my part. No, you gotta. This
it's
is
just
my.
Vader.
What's the bottom
This is
part?
my happy face.
Oh,
It's
okay,
Darth
got you.
Vader.
Okay, got you.
Um,
Just curious. That's all.
yeah. So, okay. So now that you put it that way, still the fact that I was drinking and I caught it was kind of weird. Um, and
Yeah,
that really
it's
shows that
exceptional.
that it shows that I'm a bit of a nerd.
Well,
And
it shows that even you're a highly functioning alcoholic,
a
because you
highly
caught that.
functioning nerd.
But I promise you, like I don't know the guy, I don't know, but I this is an abstract connection that, but it's specific enough from like a guy like me sitting on the sidelines, that I'll say with like a fair degree of confidence, like I'd be willing to bet $50 that that guy knew exactly what he was doing, and like the diehards like you would be like, that was pretty cool.
Oh, he's the guy who did the Clone Wars series. Is the chief creative officer, since then has been made the chief creative officer of Lucasfilm.
Yeah. So you don't do that if you don't know everything. You don't get there unless, yeah, because everyone's
So
like,
yeah, when you put it that way, maybe there are nerds that are greater than myself.
Harold is a great writer and he's got a lot of enthusiasm.
It's
And
Dave Filoni, by the way. Um,
well, yeah, David.
okay, and so other than that, I had a so last podcast we talked about the passing of my uncle and my uncle Roger, and his funeral was this week, and because of the short turnaround time, I never made it down there. But I was kind of thinking one day, and about this will kind of show uh, who my uncle and my dad kind of was, because I back when I worked. I don't know if I told this story on this podcast. I tell people this story all the time. Um, when I worked at the strip club, I was the mascot and I was also a stripper. And I used to all the time post pictures of me shirtless, wandering around the bar with all these like women in their underwear. And and my mom, my brothers, and my sisters all gave me shit for posting it on Facebook, because all my nieces and nephews follow me on Facebook. So all my nieces and nephews are like, why is Uncle James hanging out with all these women in their underwear? And my Auntie Barbara and my mom were giving me hell for posting that stuff. And my dad and my uncle were sitting there just tight-lipped. They weren't saying anything. They weren't like, at one point my mom says to my dad, do you what do you think? And he goes, whatever, whatever you think. And then later on I was talking to them without the ladies around, and my uncle and my dad both go, yeah, high five. Yeah, yeah, you can keep posting those though. I'm okay with that. And my dad doesn't follow socials. And he goes, what pictures is she talking about? So I went to my Facebook and I showed him, and he goes, oh, those are good pictures. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, my uncle's like, no, I'm okay if you keep posting those. Like the
Mhm.
kids can block you. The kids can block you on social on Facebook and stuff like that. But you can keep posting that. But it was so funny because they were sitting there going, yeah, okay, yeah, what she said.
Yeah, like
And
just
then,
kind of like through their silence having your back, right?
yeah,
Enough that it's
it
noticeable
was,
because your mom had to ask the old man, what do you think? You've been awfully quiet about this, is basically what she was
and he,
asking
and
him,
he
right?
goes, and he goes, uh, you
Whatever
know
you
more
think.
than like,
Yeah.
whatever you think.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not taking sides in this one, but I know what side I'm on.
But then he saw the
That's
pictures
awesome.
and he goes, wow.
Hmm. And in fairness
Because
to
the thing,
you, you weren't
like
swinging dick. It's like part of your job to
yeah,
to expose that stuff, right? And
yeah.
if I might, I don't
And
want to ruin it.
I was allowed by the dancers to post it because I was sharing it for the bar and
Yeah.
myself, and it was show
But
content.
also, like, I'm like, if you don't like what your kids are seeing on Facebook, maybe your kids shouldn't be on Facebook. Who controls what social media platforms your kids are on? I don't want to expand
Yeah.
this discussion, but
Yeah, no, but I know where you're coming from there. But in their defense, you wouldn't really expect their uncle to be posting half naked pictures. I don't do as much anymore. I don't work in strip clubs, and I do a lot of stuff with kids, like with the pink shirt day and stuff like that. I try not to post a lot of that kind of stuff anymore. But back in the day, I was at the strip club 3 days out, 3 days a week, like
yeah,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
What was your name again?
I when I started, I was Little Ernie, and then later on, I was Hugh Hafner.
I'm in a unique position to know both because um, I used to live basically across the street from the Big Apple on Kingsway. Remember they had that hotel there,
Yeah, yeah,
and Ern was the guy. He had that comb over, and like
yeah.
I never went to the strip club, but I always went there on Sunday for breakfast because they had a nice little diner in there and read the paper, and
But
so
this
I knew
wasn't the
who
same bar. This wasn't the
I
same
know
bar
I know I know, but I know who Big Ern
because
was.
Big Erm passed away, and then the guy that owns the Pinkies that I worked at
That's what I'm saying. Like I know that,
bought the
but
rights to the name. Yeah,
the original Pinkies was the joint on Kingsway, like I said, across the street from where I live.
and the one I worked at was at the
It
Coliseum
was
Inn,
across
right
the
across
street from the
from
Coliseum. Yeah, they
yeah,
revitalized the name and put it in the thing. And I mean,
and I was
uh,
there for 2 years. It only stayed open for 2 years and then shut down.
I'd be surprised if even the hotel is open because after the Coliseum shut down, I mean, it's all dead there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it was yeah, it was quite the experience because but all my male friends were like, dude, you got to post more of that kind of stuff because there is most normal people didn't get away with some of the pictures that I took with these women. Like with, I have a picture of my nose in a dancer's bum. You know,
I mean, normal. You're normal. What are you talking about?
so I'd love to see you get away with something like that.
Yeah, yeah, like not end up in jail. Um,
Yeah.
no, let me ask you one more from that period of your life. Um, so you stripped too, as you mentioned.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
did you ever go raw, or did you always have a little like banana hammock?
I always went G string.
Okay,
Uh, but a lot of male dancers do. Um, because for the main reason of when unless you were personally excited, it's a little limp. So like
yeah,
how to keep it hard. Okay, we're getting a little graphic here. Um, like what some of the guys do is they get it excited and then put a rubber band around it to make sure that
it stays
and you can only
intact.
do
As
yeah while you're doing it. And yeah, I'm not doing that.
there's like an
Like I
element of
was,
objectivity attached to that, where it's kind of like I'm not excited. I'm here for your enjoyment. You can't see my dick be hard, basically, right?
yeah, it's, but like some of the guys do. And then when they take the rubber band off, it's actually painful.
Well, I can
Like,
imagine. Though,
like here, between this podcast and the next, wrap a rubber band around your
okay,
thingy and let me know,
I'm probably gonna
and let me
hard
know,
pass.
let me know, let me know what you think. Um, but
Yeah,
But the thing is, though, is I always went to the G string, and I have some funny stories, and like even when I worked at the club in the back rooms where you do the lap dances, the rules are and the security the bouncers walk through. There's supposed to be no touching. Like you're not supposed to touch the
yeah.
girls. They're not supposed to touch you. I broke that rule more than most. Like by letting the big thing was letting the girls spank me. Um, can I spank you? Okay. Um, have you heard this story?
Nope.
Okay, so in the if you've never been into the back room of a strip club, which I'm pretty sure Mooney has never because he's got morals. He doesn't go to strip clubs, but you know, so they have a bench and then like it's a little room with a curtain, and so the person is sitting on the bench and I'm standing on either side of her, one leg on one side. And so I'm sitting there shaking my ass and she
So
goes,
is
can,
this where people pay for like a lap dance or whatever, or like an extra?
yeah, where they pay like yeah, like it's like you pay $50 a dance. I can't remember what it was. But I was back there and she goes, can I spank you? And I'm like, okay, but be subtle. There's supposed to be no touching. And she goes, okay. She goes like this and spanks me. She spanked me so hard. I flew off the bench, through the curtain and hit the wall on the other side of the hallway. Like I flew right off like it was like she tossed me. And I'm landing there and there's girls dancing for other people on either side of me. And they hear the boom and they see me on the ground and I'm like, yeah, uh, I had a dance malfunction and just went back in. Um, but yeah, like I got full out spanked. But some of the nights doing lap dances, like there was one night I made like almost 2 grand. Like
Wow,
it was good money back then, and it was cash. But don't tell the government.
those were the days. Fuck me.
But yeah,
That's pretty crazy. I
so
think, yeah, I don't, I've never done the strip club thing, but I went once with a friend. We were out of town. I don't want to get more into it beyond saying that. Actually, yeah, I won't go into any more. But I never laid a hand on anybody. I was waiting for my friend. I never laid a hand on anybody the whole time. Um, but a girl like, and girls are walking by, and I'm waiting for my buddy. I'm watching like in my opinion, like those places like might be where a guy could get fucked up or someone could mess him up or whatever. So I'm waiting for him, and uh, the whole time, so he leaves, and I'm just sitting alone in this kind of little booth because that's where he left from. So I'm like, I'll be here when you get back. And the whole time, girls are walking by. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Because, they go like, hey, fella, you want to dance or whatever? And I just said, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. And then I started saying, no, you're wasting your time. And I don't know if they had like a bet with each other, these girls or whatever, but some girl comes up and she goes, do you mind if I sit down? And I'm like, honestly, I was like, it's a free world. And then she put her hand on my knee, and all I did was brush her hand away, and I'm like, I'm not, like I'm not doing that. And finally my buddy comes out and we're leaving. I'm square with the drinks. I'm ready to go. Everyone's tipped out. And we're leaving, and this big fucking bouncer steps in front of me. And he goes, you owe us $100. And I'm like, why? This wasn't in Edmonton, by the way. And I go, why? And he goes, well, because you touched the girl. I'm like, I didn't touch anybody. And like, she's like, yeah, he touched my knee. And I look at him like, I had the money, but it's just greasy, eh? Like I had the money. Here's 100. I ended up going, here's $100. But like, I kind of wish that I would have fought him or said something because it's a matter of principle. But by the same token, chances are I would have got my ass kicked. Not that I was afraid of that. I'm never afraid of that on principle, but it's like cops and, like,
and people
yeah.
would know you were in there
Well, I don't care about
and
that
it was
even. Like,
no,
like
but I think sometimes bouncers or even dancers, they're like they some of them like I've met some great dancers, some really nice ladies. But there are some that are greasy in a way that they're like, oh, he's just gonna give you the money because he doesn't want the hassle.
yeah,
And
like maybe the girls had, and listen, obviously I'm nothing to look at. I don't think it's because I'm, no one wants to get with me or
okay,
nothing. It's more like
no one would ever,
we're all
no
slot
one would
machines.
ever accuse you of being a looker. Okay,
Yeah,
like
yeah, we're all ATMs when we walk into those joints. And like I said, I just wanted to mind my own business until my buddy was done or whatever, and fucking like uh like the only time I touched anybody was when I brushed her hand away from my knee. you know. And I'm like, I won't get into all the permutations wherein I can go, well, you touch me, that's assault, or it's almost like you think of all the ways that could go, and it's like $100 to make it go away. And I think they probably figured that themselves. And we weren't in
Yeah.
Edmonton, so we were tourists. And anyways, if you and I ever go to a joint like that, I'll be at the pool table.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll be in the back room with the girls.
Yeah,
But but yeah,
yeah.
that was basically my week. Like yesterday, I did hang out with my cousin Angie and her dogs. I'm a huge fan of their dog her dogs, and it's. But yeah, other than that, that was my week, and yeah, there we go. Another podcast where half our podcast is about what happened in our week.
This is for your uncle Richard, was it?
Uncle Roger,
Roger, Uncle Roger. Cheers.
Uncle Roger. But yeah, that was the week, and let's get into another reason for Mooney to talk because he loves hearing his voice. Um,
No, I
we're gonna get into the sports. So the big things to talk about are the Oilers and some of the stuff going on like since the Jays. Because I saw this thing, I'll kick this off. So I saw this article that I sent to you about Springer and the Silver Slugger Award. Do you know what that is?
yeah, yeah. So um, like even if you're maybe not necessarily like baseball inclined or whatever, they always have like the Golden Glove Award winners. And so in baseball, it's like half the teams are in the American League, half the teams are in the National League. The Dodgers are in the National League, we're the American League, and at the end of the season, they both play in the World Series. Okay. So the
Okay.
majority of the teams that the NL plays and the AL plays are within their conference. They call it American League, but really it's conference. And same with the NL. And so in each position, the defensive players who have the best glove, who are the best first base glove and the second base glove, they win Golden Glove. So you win a Golden Glove for first base, second base, third base, all the way around like the rotation there in the
Like
field.
back catcher.
Yeah, yeah. And so it goes the same way for and those are all defensive awards, right? So for example, like Vladdy, I think he has or Dalton Varsho, not this year, but last year, he won Golden Glove center field, or I think it was left field actually, because and he won the Golden Glove because of all the left fielders in the American League. He was considered the best left fielder, so he won the Golden Glove. So the same thing goes offensively for um, how guys do at the dish or the plate, I guess. Sorry, the plate. Um, and everyone fills a role in the American League at the plate. You'd be the first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop, third, like left field, right field, center field, and the offensive version of the Golden Glove is the Silver Slugger. So it's like the best hitter at that position. And so because it's the American League, and I think they might do it now in the NL National League, they include the designated hitter. And George Springer this year did not play outfield pretty much at all. He was our designated hitter. And he had a massive, at 36 years old, had a massive bounce back year. He was a big part of our ascension throughout the AL and getting the pennant and all those things. And he was up for Silver Slugger at that position and he won it. So George Springer is the Silver Slugger, the designated hitter, Silver Slugger award winner for the American League this year, this past year.
So is there other batting awards too? Like there's a Silver Slugger. Is there the
Yeah, for
Gold
all the
Slugger, the
Silver
Platinum
Slugger for
Slugger?
no, it's all Silver Slugger.
Like,
So for all the positions, so in this year we consider you the best batter from this position.
oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? So I think Bo might have one. I'm pretty sure Vladdy does too at first base, but this year And by the way, we got Ty France from the Twins, I think, at the trade deadline. And of all the Jays that were up for Golden Gloves, Ty France is the only winner, even though he barely played when he joined the Jays. But other news about the Jays is that Shane Bieber exercised his option, so we got him as a free agent from the Cleveland Indians at the trade deadline, and so he could have walked or he could have exercised his option. I think the option was for 16 million. He was just coming off Tommy John surgery, and he pitched for us, I believe, twice in the World Series. So obviously, he's going to be a key part of our starting rotation moving ahead here in the next season. So that's one J that we've retained. Bo Bichette is an unrestricted free agent, except that we gave him a qualifying offer, which means that if he's signed by another team, we get a compensatory draft pick. I'm not sure where that lies, but the fact that we qualified him just means that we'll be rewarded if he signs with someone else because he's a Jays property. Um, because he's unrestricted free agent, Ross Atkins, the general manager of the Jays, um, said explicitly, we're in the Bo Bichette sweepstakes, so we want to sign him. And Bo Bichette himself said, "I want to win with this team. I like these guys." But at the end of the day, it comes down to money. Like I love you, Jimmy. We've been friends for a long time. Uh, you're a key part of this podcast. But
I hope so. I'm one of two pieces.
yeah.
Um,
But if I got offered, like it's that kind of thing where it's like Vladdy and
or
Bo have
or
been.
if you got offered to work with someone like uh what's his nuts, the MMA guy.
Oh no, 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 no! I didn't want to say. I'm just joking, I'm joking,
I
not
can see
joking.
you being offered to another podcast. Hell, I'll let them take you. I can find another bald guy. Like,
No, my point is, and this is a bad example because I'm not sure I would do it, but the thing is that Bo Bichette's option I think is for 22 and change, but he's 27 and he's arguably the best shortstop in the game, and he bats like 300 plus when he's healthy. That's a question mark, but nobody gives a fuck. Um, he's going to be like hot gold on the free agent market. And so it's right and good for him to see how much he can get. Does he want to be with the Jays? He said he did, but in under those circumstances, that's just him saying, "I want the Jays to take a run at me too, and I'll accept the best offer." Because if you're talking about millions of dollars a year, um, hell, like you're gonna take the best offer, right? I mean, fuck. If
yeah.
somebody said, "I'll pay you 10 grand a month to work with me instead of Mooney," you're gonna take it, and then I'd tip my cap to you, because
Oh
we
hell, if
make
someone
we.
paid me $100, if someone paid me $20 a podcast, that's more than I make right now with you.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying though.
Oh, I
So
totally
I
get it.
mean,
Like if
and
someone
I mean,
gave me a case of beer to do a podcast, I'm in. Like,
yeah. Anyway, that's where we're at with the Jays as far as free agency. The Oilers are a different story. I don't want to
yeah, and
belabor the point.
let's talk about the huge loss.
Yeah.
What was
So
it,
the
9-1?
Oilers, yeah, the Oilers got a wedgie like over their head. Like
Yeah, those suck. I really hated those.
like 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 over their head so far that they could smell like the anus of the Colorado Avalanche by the end of the game because it was the worst home loss in Oilers history. They lost 9-1 on Hockey Night in Canada Saturday night to the Colorado Avalanche, who have, like, honestly, you never want to get ahead of yourselves this early in the season, but mid-November ish, this team looks really good, and they've got really nice pieces. They've got great goaltending, Mackenzie Blackwood, who we missed out on when he got traded from San Jose. Um, Obviously, Nate McKinnon, Kale McCarr. Uh, they lost Rantanen, but they got this Nikash kid. I won't go on about Colorado, but they
Yeah,
they
let's
they
not.
they they fucked us so bad, and the worst part is, like, Imagine Rocky won, but Rocky got knocked out in the third round and didn't even try. That was us, like on Saturday night. And the Oilers have been middling since the beginning of the season, which they typically do in the last. This is the third year now, um, and the last two previous summers we lost in the Stanley Cup final. So you got to understand that there's going to be a little bit of. Not only did you have less summer to prepare, but you also um, made it to the top of the mountain, but never hit the peak, and now you got to start at the bottom again. So I don't care who you are psychologically, it's like, oh fuck, I got to play game 16 again, game 15, like there's a mental fatigue that I think
Can,
has to be
can
given
I
more
ask you a
credit.
question?
Yeah.
How far did the Avalanche get into the playoffs, or did they?
So we played the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference final, and they beat the Colorado Avalanche. And I think it was in 7 games. So I think the Avalanche wish like they carry that loss worse than the loss, like than we probably carry the loss to the Panthers this past playoffs because they were a better team. Like it is what it is. Um, yeah, the Avs, and they've improved a lot. They've got a lot of their bottom six is like I haven't seen them until Saturday, and they look fantastic. I mean, their bottom six. I think they got as many goals in their bottom six as they did from like McKinnon, McCarr, all those guys. There's a lot to go around. Fucking 9-1. Anyway, the point is that I think 2 points. The first one is um, Chris Knobloch mentioned that the coach, obviously, um, that
I hope he's the coach.
yeah, he said we've had bad starts the previous 2 seasons, but we've it's kind of like it's like a graph, and you just keep going up. Slowly you go up, right? Um, and he goes this year, we actually had a better record at game 16 this year, but it was like win one, lose one, win one, win two, lose one, win one, win. Like it was like we're 500. It wasn't like this fucking thing where you start rising and getting better. And he made an interesting point that I picked out where he said like we haven't seen any growth. So um and I hope that what happened on Saturday was a crescendo. The other point that needs and that they'll come back tonight on this Amazon Prime game that we talked about or whatever. Do we talk about this live or
No, we
I
haven't
don't think
talked
we
about it
have.
live yet.
Yeah,
We're
tonight's game's on Amazon Prime. Jimmy and I are hunting down a bar where we can actually watch it. I have Amazon Prime at home. I'm sure Jimmy does too, but it's a free Saturday in the work week because it's Remembrance Day tomorrow, which we'll talk about. So, how do you watch an Amazon Prime game at the back? We'll see. We'll share it. We'll share it, right? Did we say that?
yeah. I'll post if we do find a place to watch it. We will post where it is, and hopefully
And
we can
anyway,
find a place.
yeah, I wanted to make my last point, and this is important because uh,
Hopefully it's your last point. You've had like two.
I
You
know
had. I have two things to say, and you said 12. So hit me, baby, one more time.
it's not a competition, and I'm just trying to convey information. But Stuart Skinner, it feels like um, his time in Edmonton is over because, like Mark Spector, who I respect and follow, I've read his book. He's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame yet, not like Jim Matheson, who I think is awesome. But he's a journalist. He like from the time he graduated from the University of Alberta, he wrote for the whatever he writes for Sportsnet.ca now, and he made a very interesting point after that game that we lost 9-1. And obviously, when you lose 9-1, it is not the goalie's fault. Like like I mean, yeah, like unless I'm the goalie, But if it's an NHL goalie, it's not his fault. Like they get too many opportunities, blah blah blah. But he asked the coach, he goes, "Has the team lost confidence?" And like, pretend I'm Chris Knobloch after being asked that question. He goes, "Has the team lost confidence in the goalie?" Meaning, Are they gonna like when he gives up? Do they give up? Like when he lets a soft one in, are they like bereft of hope because they don't think he's gonna bounce back and they stop caring? Right? You understand the logic there?
Yeah,
So
no,
he
no, I
asked him
got you.
that.
Yeah.
He asked him that question. And he's like, he literally, I won't do it because we're already a buck an hour in. But
And and we're only
he,
2 bits into the
yeah,
podcast, so
he took a long pause, like a long, like too long. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
yeah, like, but
like
as
his,
long as you talking about how long the pause is, yeah, but probably less
but
long as this.
um, like
Okay, he made a long pause.
no. Think about it though. Like it matters. Like if you're a sports fan, so it's like, what do you think? Like did like he's trying to formulate an answer that doesn't say the team has lost faith in the goalie. You know what I mean? It's like if somebody
Yeah,
asked you and like it was all publicly available and I'll read it tomorrow or whatever, and a media guy goes, "Is Mooney an asshole?" And they asked you that.
I wouldn't even. I would go. Yep. Like,
Bad example, but if you actually cared about my feelings, which it's okay, I don't have
do you
any.
have feelings? Like, really?
Yeah, no, but you know what I'm
Okay.
saying,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
and anyway, it was so emblematic of just how dysfunctional maybe, well, I don't want to say dysfunctional, but it's like the truth is staring you right in the eyes. If the coach takes that long, like if you're a coach, if I'm an NHL coach and I know that people lost faith in my goalie, but I'm willing to work with him, or I'm willing to wait for the GM to make him, it does. If you're an NHL coach, your answer is no right away, unequivocally no, right? Even if there's a whole ocean of shit happening underneath the surface or whatever, they go, "Have you lost faith in this guy?" I'm like, "Nope." Next question, right? This guy's like 10 seconds. I don't believe so, was his answer. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? It's
No, no, I
sometimes
tot
it's,
I no, I understand what you're saying, but you also got to look at the side of the athlete. So you look at
yep.
him, and
When I
after
shake my
that
head, by the
huge
way, I agree with you. Yeah.
after that huge of a loss, his confidence in himself is shaken. Because you like when you lose by that much and nothing you did worked, whether
Yep.
like you blame yourself more than the team does. Like I know I wasn't a professional basketball player, but when I had a bad game and every shot I took uh, missed or just didn't go the way it was supposed to, you beat yourself up. And as like and 100% Skinner was blaming himself. So his confidence in himself is shaken. So if his confidence is shaken in himself, obviously the team are going to be like a little shaken too, because he was rattled. It probably after the sixth goal, and then it just fell from there. And he was frustrated. The team was frustrated.
Like,
Someone's going to
yeah,
be, if you're not shaken after a game like that, there's something fucking wrong with you.
Jimmy, I fucking love it. I love what you just said. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to put this, but like, I'm still on Team Skinner. Like I'm just telling you what's occurred in the market and the information cycle that the fans read and the papers and online or whatever. But I got to tell you, like you make an awesome point, and media guys love the guys that step up and go, "Yeah, it's on me." And Skinner has had to do that too often. Our defense has been discombobulated. I mean, I can't tell you how many mistakes a guy like Evan Bouchard has made at the line. Jake Wallman decided since he came back that I'm going to pinch and allow 2-on-1s with like impunity. And you leave your goalie to hang out to dry. And like, as much as the goalie wants to go like, I let it in, but I forget about it because that's what you got to do to be a pro. He still cares like you do, and like I would if I was on a team. And like you care so much about your team that you feel responsible. It's hard to imagine that it's not going to impact your mental approach to the game. And we've had a handful of goalies that have left this team after being maybe abandoned defensively by the rest of the fellas. Um, and I'm not saying that Stuart Skinner is Sergei Bobrovsky. Like he's probably not. But if you don't have a Bobrovsky, you got to have a defense like core that's going to play well enough in front of him to like at least mitigate that. But then the other, I won't even get it. The other argument would be, um, well, defense, your team defense, and specifically your like top 60 are going to make mistakes anyway. So at least have that goalie that's going to make the save that he shouldn't make. And in fairness, he's a local boy. He went to my high school, and yeah, like full disclosure, uh, yeah, he might not be the guy.
But my point was Skinner's feeling the loss more than as much,
Yeah,
if not more, than the other guys.
and that's the worst
He
part
let
is what I
he let
yeah,
in 9 goals.
I talk
Like
too much.
and he's
He did he did
he's feeling it.
he got yanked at like five or six, but his backup let in
But
just as many. So it's like it's not obviously not their fault.
but you know what I mean? It's he was beating himself up after the first couple. Like,
Yeah, like 100%. And that humanistic approach that you're taking is like 100%. These guys are people. They care. I mean, like one of the greatest things ever in the history of the world to me would be if a local goalie like Grant Fuhr got handed the cup when we finally won it. And I hope Stuart Skinner's the goalie, but I fear that A, he doesn't have what it takes, I'll be honest. And B, even if he did, whether or not carrying as much as he does will
he
impact
wouldn't
his
feel
play.
worthy.
No, would impact his play to the
Yeah.
point where he can't be with the team.
Okay. So that was sports with Mooney.
Too
The
long,
second
sorry.
the second half
Way
of our
too long.
podcast. So the first half of our podcast this week was hearing about Mooney's week. And then the second half was about sports. Now we're going to get into some minor stuff, which all our listeners are here to talk about is all the other stuff that we
Nothing's
have to talk
minor.
about.
Nothing's minor. Like I'm sorry, I
Uh,
took too long with sports, but
but
uh
I'm just saying the exciting stuff is coming, folks. The
yeah, not
exciting
the
stuff
minor stuff.
ish. The exciting the the stuff that people care about other than Mooney. So before we get into the movie, not movies. There's a lot of tours coming up. There's a lot of really cool. We've been talking about it for the last couple weeks, but I'm not going to get into that yet. I want to talk about tomorrow. I want to get a little serious here. Tomorrow, like today is yeah, November 10th. That's when we're recording it, and hopefully I get this podcast up tomorrow. And tomorrow is November 11th, which is Remembrance Day. And it's a very important day. Uh, and I want to give my thoughts on it. I have several friends in my group that are either ex-military or still in the military that are dealing with stuff that they've dealt with in the military, uh, loss of people that they've worked with, injuries, stuff like that. Remembrance Day is more than just a day off. I remember when I was a kid, I used to look at Remembrance Day as, you know, a day off. Actually, when I was younger, I don't think we had the day off on Remembrance Day because I remember doing the moment of silence at 11 a.m.
11/11 every year.
11/11. Yeah. And I remember that. But the thing is Remembrance Day is very important because, you know, soldiers have fought in multiple wars, protecting our country, protecting us, our freedoms, like all that stuff. And every time I think about Remembrance Day, I think about something that's very important, and it's actually in the Bible. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down their life for a friend. And
That's
that
awesome.
by
That's awesome.
that by itself is what Remembrance Day is all about. It's about all the people that laid their life down. And that's all I really have to say about Remembrance Day. Tomorrow is it. Like whether you're going to have a pint at a Legion, or just have a moment of silence to give acknowledgement to the people that have put down their lives. That's it. Like that's the importance to me on Remembrance Day. I know you're going to talk about the poppies in a little bit, and I saw this little kid. He was trying to get a poppy from one of the kiosks at a restaurant, and they ran out of poppies. And I had one on my jacket, and he goes, "I really want one," and I gave him mine. And the mom's like, "No, no, no, you don't need to do that." And I'm like, just put the donation in the thing, and that's fine. I'll give you mine. And it's it's the fact that a little kid, you know, saw that and it's a just a little thing. And if we all do it, if we all do the little things, it does show it, because people gave the ultimate sacrifice for like their country, and it's important. And that's my thought on Remembrance Day.
Like Jimmy, I don't think anyone could have said it better, to be honest with you. And it's like these guys are, most of them are sons of immigrants. Like if we're talking about World War II, and like, I mean, Canada played a key role. I mean, you ask people in Holland, about Canada's role, and like the way that they celebrate Canadian soldiers, and it's like we were there on D-Day, and we were there. And you know what? Um, they did. There was no draft. There was no draft. There was guys going like, we're defending a way of life, and we're not allowing people to take over like the Western world, like, in an authoritarian manner. And I have two uncles that fought in the war. My uncle Joe, that I didn't get to meet, or sorry, Uncle Jim, that I didn't get to meet, and my uncle Bill, that I did meet, and he never talked about it, but he had medals from the war, and he never ever ever talked about it. And like, we they didn't have, we're from Edmonton. Anybody who's listening, we didn't have like PTSD stuff or whatever, but he basically lived at the Cromdale Hotel and went to the track every day, and did his best. Yeah, I'm not saying it was his best, but it's like the guy would not talk about war, but he won medals. Um, and maybe he was just crazy enough to run into the front line. I don't know, but I do know that these guys considered it their obligation to protect our way of life, and I think that our way of life, like the way of life that they, like, were willing to die for, is like you and me talking right now on this podcast, or anybody else that could grab a mic, or just people that,
A
like,
right to do this.
yeah, like to speak freely about whatever
Freedom.
whatever it is. Yeah. And um I've talked a lot with my uncle Bill about a lot of things, but he always said we'll never talk about war. He's like, we'll never talk about war. And he was in war. So Fairfax. I have another friend that went to Somalia and left the. Yeah, I won't get into that because it's kind of negative. But he served. He served from high school and okay, in honor of that fella, he was in Somalia and he was part of a UN peacekeeping corps. And the instructions were do not shoot unless shot at, meaning that you oversee aid being presented, and then the people that want the aid get shot, and the guys that are on top of the aid shoot the people. And it's like, as long as they're not shooting at you, you just watch. And this is a soldier that would have impacted positively our Canadian military, and he left because he had nightmares because he wanted to do something and he couldn't.
Yeah. And
And
like,
I want to get more
as I,
political than that.
no, and as I said, I've had friends, like I still have friends that were in the military that are dealing with things like PTSD and depression and stuff caused by what happened in their time with the military. My one of my closest friends, he was a bomb tech. Like he was a bomb disposal, and he saw
Yeah,
things that. And when he, yeah, I don't want to get into the details, but you could tell he's hurting, and
yeah,
because like you can't unsee the stuff that they see. And we couldn't even imagine. Like you could watch all the war movies till you blue in the face, but we could not imagine what what it was like being there, watching your friends, watching your, you know, like even other people, civilians getting hurt or whatever. It
yeah.
like you can't unsee that stuff. And
No,
I
and
couldn't even
that's
imagine.
that. And like, I'm a Canadian, and we respect all lives, all cultures, and as we should, as equals, not better than, but as equals. And you're serving, and you're a man with a gun in his hand, and you're a witness to people killing other people. Like, and
Yeah,
you can't do
it's
anything. I mean, honestly, I think that would almost be worse torture than being involved in the fight. Um, but I don't want to get political, but that was like their
but
directives.
so the moral of this podcast, this portion of the podcast is, show respect to our fallen tomorrow on or whatever day you're watching this podcast on November 11th, to the fallen soldiers that you may not know, like that, like just people that gave their life. Because as I said, greater love has no one than to lay down their life for a friend, and
Or be willing to. And it's not just our fallen, Jimmy. It's the fellows that are like
that are
still
still
around,
here.
that are both within and without our military today, and like the war fighters that are legitimately wanting to protect our country. Uh, we wear those for them too. And by the way, not for nothing, but the couple judges in Nova Scotia that told people to come into their courts and not wear a poppy. Like, I'm going to use this platform to tell them to fuck off because that happened. I don't know if we talked about this, but there were judges in Nova Scotia that people were wearing poppies, and the judges asked them to take them off because it was quote unquote a political symbol.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
No,
I'm glad that you got behind that because I know we agreed we're not going to get political, and I'm fine with that. I'm all about ideas anyway, but
but
yeah,
but the quote I was using is actually from the book of John, John 15:13. is greater love. This is King James version. Hath no
Yeah,
man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends. And that is kind of where I was going with that. And that quote is talking about Jesus, but soldiers, protecting others and giving up their life is love.
that same
100%.
purity of belief and the purity of sacrifice for principle is like nothing more than laudable. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, happy remember State.
But yeah,
Like,
so now that we're done that and I got the tears out, um, I just want to like I think we should end the podcast because you have taken like well if we count words on the podcast, I'm pretty sure you outdo me, but that's not the point. Every podcast we talk about upcoming content, concerts. And there's a lot of stuff. Like we've been every podcast, we mentioned three or four. There's some that are coming up that I'm excited for. Like we talked about ACDC last time round, and uh, Burton Cummings, Randy Bachman. Uh, so the Guess Who, but I think they're doing it as the Guess Who because they've done it before, where it's Burton and Randy. I think some of the members that separated, I think they're coming
yeah,
back as the Guess Who. They're coming. My mom is a huge fan of the Burton Cummings and the Guess Who. She grew up in Winnipeg. They're Winnipeg boys, and also Journey is coming, and I think the closest for that one is You said Seattle. Which is closer, Seattle or
no,
Vancouver?
no. Journey is Spokane.
Oh,
Uh,
Spokane.
yeah,
Spokane.
like April 15th. Road trip. Road trip April 15th to see Journey in
I
Spokane.
We have to. I've never seen them. You said you've seen them a couple of times, and I kind of
It's
need
a,
to.
it's about a, it's
Like
about a 9 hour. It's like, and you know what? It's like I don't. The other thing about the Journey tour is that they haven't said where they're playing, so it's kind of like they announced the
the
place
tour,
or they announced the tour, but they don't. I don't know what they're. I didn't go to their
but but
website, but they didn't say where they were playing.
but a lot of the bands, this is the first leg. They might actually
Yeah,
eventually come here if they do a second
yeah,
or third, or in the
yeah.
case of Kiss, 27th leg.
But Journey's like
Um,
covering North America. But I also read an interview with Neil Sean, guitarist, founding member of Journey, and they said 2027. And this current like route ends at 26. So
yeah, like so.
who knows?
Who knows? They might actually come here
Yeah, well,
eventually.
I saw them with Toto a year and a half ago, and I saw them in Nashville because they're two of my favorite bands of all time. And Johnny, like friend of the podcast, Johnny and I went um, just because it was a direct flight from Edmonton. So I'll see him again, and I know you want to see him, and you should. You'll love
Yeah,
it, Jimmy.
that would be the ultimate show for me. I love their music. I worked on a radio station that played a lot of Journey, um,
We're going to
or a fair
Journey.
bit.
Can we agree? Like
Yes,
for the podcast,
we are
we'll
going.
fucking even if it's from our phones, we'll do an episode at whatever venue we're going to from the hotel or whatever. I won't be in the
Actually,
same room
we
as
we
you. I
are
don't want to
going,
be near that G string.
and we are going, and when we do decide when, and like where and when, we will let our listeners know so maybe they can come to the same show. Maybe not sit with us, but it'd be awesome if we can get a bunch of the bald and short of it listeners out to see Journey. Who knew? Um,
Work out a
that we're
deal with a
making
hotel or something. I
we're,
like
that
like
we're making a difference.
it's April 15th, Spokane, and it's a 9 hour road trip, I reckon. So not for nothing.
So and then uh we have Burton
Closer to
Cummings and
home.
Randy Bachman.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to
They're
that.
coming to Edmonton, Calgary. I I saw Burton by himself,
Me too.
and and
Mike,
and
like
he's and
friend of
he's
the
and
podcast,
he's
Mike Barak, and I saw him.
and he's good, but he gets drunk every show, and it kind of ruins it in some ways. He great singer, but like his opening lines for every song is like I was at the Edmonton Rock Music Festival, and when it was at the
Yeah, I was at the same show. How did I not see
and
you?
uh I don't know, you should have looked down. Um, but the thing is though, is I was there with my mom, and the intro to every song was, you might not know this song, it was a hit, but it was a hit a while ago. You might not know it, but here it is. And then he would do the song, and then the next song, okay, you might not know this one, but, and he did it almost for every song. Like you were there for that. Like,
Yeah,
he did the
I
exact same thing. It
yeah.
was, but then he
Like,
started slurring towards the
and
end, and
when he played it, did you know it? I fucking knew it.
every freaking song.
Yeah,
I
and
grew
then
up on,
the
I
thing
grew
is,
up on that music. My mom is a
yeah, me
huge
too.
fan. She has every album. She
Like
has like
people
every
forget, like before Rush, like obviously before Nickelback or but like credible bands like Rush, like the Guess Who was like literally
one of the biggest Canadian bands that went
no what no hang on
international.
stop talking, like no offense, like one of the biggest bands in the world, like
That went
and
international. Like it was, they were
these
known everywhere.
yeah, these kids from Winnipeg, and it got like Burton went off and did his own thing like you do, like George.
And Randy Bachman did his own thing with BTO.
Yeah, well, Randy Bachman's like, "Oh, you're not my band anymore." He's like, like who knows? Like, I bet they're friends now that they're older, and it's like, "Hey, we're still alive. We love each other."
Uh, it,
But then there was the legal issues with the name. But I will say this: that on June 10th at Rogers Place, is it June 10th?
I think it is.
Double check because I'm pretty sure.
I had it.
Like they're coming to Edmonton. This is how big these guys are. They're like septuagenarians, and they're gonna play Rogers Place, and I'm gonna show up because I know what an influence they had on like the culture, really, particularly in Canada, but worldwide.
June 10th, 2026. Rogers Place.
So we're going to that one, and we're going to Journey in Spokane, unless they announce more legs.
Yeah, and the one at Rogers goes on sale on the 14th.
Yeah, I don't care about that stuff. Like we'll get
No,
tickets.
I'm
Yeah,
just
and
telling you.
also like
That's
friend of the podcast, Johnny Schmiller will probably join us too.
We just call him Bold Johnny.
Friend of
he's
the
gonna be
podcast,
the friend of
official
the
of the podcast.
podcast, Bald Johnny, because he might be your replacement when I have you removed. You know,
Yeah, because it's not the Mooney and Jimmy of it; it's the bald and short of it. So just
exactly. And
find another bald guy.
there's fewer midgets in Edmonton. Um,
You're
but there's
protected.
lots of bald people. But yeah, so there's a lot of concerts going in and coming up, and I'm excited. And we're going to keep it as they come through. We're going to keep talking about it. Tomorrow is Remembrance Day. Again, remember just to remember and just have a moment of silence and think about people that have given their lives. And
Yeah, like I think that's maybe a good close. And what I'll say is like, um, imagine the people that gave their lives for us, um, and what they had in mind that they wanted to defend. A lot of them immigrants, whose families found refuge here in Canada, and then even beyond them, the the veterans that fought for the same idea, um, whether it existed or not. But we need to pay tribute to every man that that served.
hundred
Yeah,
percent. And in a lot of ways, first responders as well. Remembrance Day is meant for the wars, but first responders of all shapes and sizes, like from police to firefighters, who again give their lives to protect us.
yeah. And
Uh,
so Jimmy, to close this podcast, why don't you repeat that line from John in the Bible? I'll hold my drink up.
Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down their life for a friend.
Love you, Jimmy.